एक दूसरे ऐसे एक दूसरे एक दूसरे एक दूसरे Latvijas baigi, galīgi. Īstais latviešu. Sērs Latvijas. Shalom sārenge, dēlme svētinēl tumē.
Shalom everyone, God bless you all.
Pačovās dabaļvimenge sārenge svēti visi, dēļ.
I believe that this night is very
Jās un Deleski klātbūtnā.
blessful for everyone to be in God's presence,
Jās un skitulībā.
to be closer with Him.
Mēs turpināsim par tēmu un Godiba.
We continue this topic
Svilpina
about
zādā.
glorify, glory.
Akanā? Nevaru. Slava Deleski. Mēs turpināsim par tēmu Deleski, Slava, Leski,
We continue
Godiba.
this topic about
Mas
His
tu
grace,
His
His
svarīgi.
glory, why it's so important.
Mēs uzreiz tā daļi novadīģām.
We already had some parts of it,
Vispār Deleski, Slava, Leski, Godiba.
and His grace, His glory,
Vaš so, jesi svarīga vaš saku
why it's
kristietiski.
important for every Christian.
Kon li pirla kokuru kusimera
Who
kirģām.
remember last week when we spoke
Suno
about
tikande Izraēļaki tautas.
what happened with the people of Israel?
Dikindui Deleski, Godiba, gīne druh jūra.
Seeing God's glory, they went through
Diklo tik
the
būt
sea.
brīnumi.
They saw so many miracles.
Hāne manna tuksnesīs.
They ate manna in the desert.
Vīne pāri
Wilderness.
klintāti.
They drank water from the rock.
Abrīnojama lieta.
It's amazing things.
Dīse, jāga kustabus angīlinge čala. Vadīnele. Dīse. Dīse mākonis vīru. Bet rati jāga kustabus.
In the
Isisan lengu vidus, to jest.
in the
Rakjelen.
night there was the pillar of light in the middle, and in the daytime it was the cloud was covering them.
I sārdo dikindui,
And by seeing everything,
kana njonenojo da živu samu svarīga dīļ daļa.
they came to the most important part,
Piepildimi pēc apsolījumu sodāvu peņģa.
the fulfillment of the
Džana.
promise.
Tievantinena du puits lenga dēl
They
apsolījumu.
had to went and
Tī
to
naprostajā
get the
apsolījumu.
place
Bet
what the
peņģa.
God promised.
Sev
promised
medījumu
them.
krigla.
It's not just promise. He said, "I will give you a weight." This month.
Jesi krigdīni,
It's already given to them.
Jesi už krigdīni. Tī baigi interesanti.
And very interesting.
Izbiča dauri dešuduj līderi.
They are sent out 12 leaders of them.
Kon kamel jā līderis.
Who wants to be a
A
leader?
neprevastā.
Just raise your hands.
Mēdē jums kādas liek, ka ti niekaņas.
I just saw.
Sigēka. Upsobi nadika mēriki. Kon kamel jā
Who wants to
līderi.
be a leader?
Šo?
And that's it.
Labi, me kusam penātu.
Okay, I will tell you that.
Varsojot peņģā.
Why he said
Vasodēl peņģā.
Why
Saku
God
cevu
said-
katru vilēm. Konsi
to take
muš an vadiba. Līderis.
leader from every tribe,
Vaš dosi jau plānini.
because he has a plan
Uz pačālu tabāru.
to entrust them something greater.
Tais, ja tu vispār nākā mesijās an nisai lieti
If
līderis,
you don't want to be leader, it's something.
citok tu, ka dēls otavaš uz pačālu.
How then God can entrust you something?
Ja, kad ona jāla.
It doesn't work like this.
Ja tu penesā. Galvenu
If
sāru, ka
you
eres
say
džesti.
just to do everything by bottom of your heart,
Es vispār dikti kļūdas uz to
It's the
šķiet.
greatest mistake what you can imagine.
Nevis, ka eres ģesti,
Not just to do from the bottom of your heart,
bet, ka eres seksi Dēlu pa
but
nevu.
to do as God said.
Jo tu ģīsi hohānu,
Because your heart can lie to
ti
yourself.
dobru na Dēlisku labu.
And that's what God's word
Si mānu
says.
šesku ģīsi hohānu,
The
ti
heart of
jūtīgu.
the people is
Ti
lying and deceitful.
dadīs to šķi, ka eres lapča lieti sāra ģesti.
And you can do many good things with your heart.
Ti taša sāra ģesti naiedik, ka se mānu šen.
But tomorrow you can
Konem Dēlu radi
create some
ģapalpisku
people
tēlus te līdzību.
who God created by His own image.
Kenam. Labi, ok, natēļinās laikus pa to.
Let's
Šodien.
may start Simon.
Jo vilja deždu līderiem.
He chose 12 leaders
Bičeļa pa apsolitu
who
puļi.
He sent to the promised land.
Ja negīne, vidi khen puļi.
They
Visus
went
konkrētu
to
izdevumu.
see their land.
Un
They had
lendori
the
gati augļi.
target to
Sili
take
liecība.
the fruit from it as a
Testam.
testimony.
Jo nedovi kerde,
They did it.
jo de pāle.
They came back.
Ti togi dešu līderi
And
sāti de.
then 10 leaders started
Ti haden buntus.
to raise
Rebel.
rebellion.
Haden buntus an pengi starpa, an
So
draudzaki starpa.
started to rebellion against each other in their own people
Tisēine neticība.
and to
Strach.
put in the faith and to
Krotkve, jo nevirzi detele sāri draudza vispār.
they just brought down all church
Deleski ir apsolījumus te.
from the God's promise.
Konkam ir līderis.
Who wants to be a leader?
Pagaidām jēk, 2, 3, referēdīši tā, anģi. Čau. Ja tu meni kidina kā mena jāna
If
līderi,
you
ko
don't want to
neskato
be
ki
a
dēlus
leader,
pa čālu,
then
uz priekšu,
on
kā
whom
neko neskato.
God's gonna entrust His
Hai,
church and who?
medrīzinai labi, pēc me. Hai, mei sundai.
I am
Mei
here
sundai.
now, but I
Bet
can-
mēri vaši
I
najotaši.
can be tomorrow that I will not be in here.
Vienmēr čepiām Deleski muršati
There
dūļa,
should be always be a God's man and
konsi
woman
šmala,
who are
pačaibnās,
trustworthy
atbildīga,
and
tik
responsible
uzticīga Deleski.
and trustful to God.
Jeb kontumendi,
Any one of them,
arī tu me jaunieši.
even you, the youth.
Aha, ja tu me dufinas mes anterne,
If you think that you are young,
togi tieši duj celigais izdai dasai,
then there was
konuštīna predipenle.
two of them who stood up
So
and
tu me
said,
kerna,
what you doing?
ja Dēlis immensa,
If God is with us,
me jasam tie lasam,
we will go and we will gain a victory.
me jasam tie lasam, ja
We will
Dēlis
wait.
immensa.
If God is with us,
Pušumen do dešu līderi,
and those 10 leaders,
Jan Leandre an dasai neticība sāri draudza.
they brought in so faith in the church
Si sāri draudza celu ratroģa,
that all church was in tears.
si taša latri pielija lēmumus.
And in the morning they make a decision.
Hadas līderis.
Let's raise the leader.
Tas lēmis ir Mūzus.
That they have Moses.
Doj, jūs mamēja.
He's still there. He
Yes,
hasn't
he did.
died yet. He's still there.
Ja nepamanā.
They
Tak.
said,
Ja Mūzus savingenāni gaisus.
we can't breathe with Moses anymore.
Donis susijau, kad es pīru jūra.
It's nothing that he
Su
opened
kandos
the
ir tas
sea.
sev.
It's nothing.
Jūra, kad es pīru.
Let's just imagine.
So can't do
Just
it, does
open
it?
and see. It's nothing.
Gandrīz it neso. Hadas miganievu līderis.
Let's raise new leader
Tiām pāle pa Eģipta.
and let's go back to Egypt.
Pulipirien. Si, mēģēsis laikus, kad medārāks ir ģāma,
We
kā
had
ko
a time when
teigi
we spoke about
skola, tai.
here
So Pāvilus peņģāna apustuļa darbi,
what Paul said in Book of Acts
kad atvadi ģapes efeziešiem.
when he said goodbye to Ephesians.
Jo zapulciķā,
He gathered
draudzaki
He
vecajiem.
gathered
Tu
the
esi
elders of
atbildīga
the
vaš draudza.
church who are responsible for of the church
Ti peņģējaka.
and said,
Kamēr mēs maskutumē,
until I was with you,
meni so nanoči hadjum pet Penģu atklāja ģimtumīgi sāru vajadzīgu ti
I
noderīgu.
didn't I didn't hide anything. I revealed you everything what you needed.
Tu man butrināti kena,
And you will not see me here anymore.
bet tu man brīdināji klieta.
I will warn
Tik līdz meģākri gal,
until I will
kori
leave.
tu māru vidustiru štena.
Your own people
Muša
in your midst will
korakirna
stand
atžgārne.
up, who will start to talk wrongly.
Tija nenatele sāri
I
draudzē.
will blow down all church.
Jo penģa jānomoda,
He said, be awake,
diken palga draudzā,
look after
so tu
church.
menge svētu garus, kā tu mesan iehadīne, ti svētu garus, es uzpačadu,
Where are you?
so tu me diken palāvu.
Where you in and where Holy Spirit entrusted you to see, look after it.
Tu diken, li
Let's
pirmā
see.
varakajam vaso,
Remember we spoke about why
duku kore muršakon
the
sisālingu
same
vidus.
people who was in their
Naškī
midst
nedoli, kērin kamer Pāvilus dojis sis.
couldn't do it until Paul was there.
Vaso nedoli naškī nevi
Why
kērin.
they couldn't do it?
Halina, tu esi Pāvilus,
You
apiski
understand?
kalpošanā.
Paul in his ministry,
Nepārtraukte vadīja arī pēc Deleski Slava.
he
Yes.
was bringing God's
Nothing
glory all the
drugs
time with him.
sludināšana,
Not
te mācīšana.
only through teaching
Drugs sāri
and
kalpošana.
preaching, but through
Tu
all
esi
his
kamēr Pāvilus
ministry.
dojis kalpini, dojis Deleski Slava.
It means until he's there, he's servicing, it's God's glory in there.
Nikon ni soma lustena šķivi kēram.
No one from the side can do
Un šodien
it.
sāri draudz sakedoši nopietne.
And it's very serious to all the people, all
Ja
the
tu
church.
nepinškirna Deleski
If you
Godiba, Leski
know
Slava.
God's glory, His praise.
Nikon ni soma lustina šķiesei nelantu māru dži.
No one can saw anything wrong
Nikon
in
ni
your
soma
heart.
lustina šķi vikērelam draudze.
No one from the side can do anything to the church.
Ja isi Deleski Slava,
If there is
antu māru
God's
vidus.
praise in your midst,
Malustir nikon na šķi vikērelit niso.
no one can do anything from the side.
Tieši jake paisis dai,
It was in here just the same way.
du dešmuršā,
Those 10 men,
gīnen boja.
they
Drupegu
died
napačaiben.
through their own faith.
Jo ne gīnen boja. Bet do duimuršā,
But those 2 men,
konen karde Jozua ti Kalebus,
who was Joshua and Caleb,
jo ne je gīne.
they went in.
Jo ne izdoj
They was there
anduštetus,
on
so
that
dēla
place
apsolīdžā.
where God promised them.
Tieši Jozuvake,
And to Joshua,
dēlu uzpačaja turpmāk vadinel tautā, celu sāri
God
tautā.
entrusted him to lead the people.
Pušunen, dolakon kamen kalpinen, patieset uzticīga dēleske,
Those who wants to serve God trustworthy,
piņškires dēleski slava,
to
tas
know
godi,
God's glory
vienkārši
and
esi
praise,
nepieciešama.
it's necessary.
Vienkārši esi
It
nepieciešama.
is necessary.
Sobi tu vaštus auglieti, pareize kalpines dēleske tīkame,
So you
tu
can
ke čevi piņškires dēleski slava.
so you can be in service fruitful. You have to know the God's praise,
Jo dēleski slava,
because God's praise,
esi nemainīgu.
it's unchangeable.
Neatkarīgi esi laiki esi, tu esi sono tiekam
It
šingu
doesn't
vidus.
matter about the time. It doesn't matter about when people meet what's happening.
Meka māsop tu me uzšķirine Ecijēlas grāmata.
I want you to open the book of Ezekiel.
Ecijēlas grāmata. Zāra kanātiešu nodaļā. Ohtotu nodaļa.
Book of Ezekiel, chapter 8.
Oh, sorry. Jesi ķēniņa, bet ķēniņa me potom, kad esam atzīminen tu menge, čeli, nečel, jesi čevnu tu menge. Daļa, notimu. Ecihjēla štalvardešti, štalvardešti šperšu.
Ezekiel 41.
se notiek anda laikus.
What is happening in this time period?
Ja tu mekedīne Ecihielas grāmatā,
If you read Ezekiel,
tagad tu mēģi san apmēram un kurs lieta.
then you know what is happening.
Savu briesmīgu laikus, visisān Ecihielasku laikus.
What terrible time is the
Izraēļa
time is
tauta.
Ezekiel. The people of Israel,
Atpēja Deleski.
they departed from God.
Ti nafeņu atpēja.
And not just departed.
Iesāk te pie mangel vārdēlen,
They started to worship other
ti
gods.
togi je vidle midžā.
And they decide,
Vasome pie mangasam kaita vār čallen.
why we worship them somewhere else?
Ja naslen Andran Delesku templis.
Let's bring them inside of the God temple.
Ti togi je nejam Andre, sāre duelken Andelsku templis.
And then they brought in all the idols in the temple of God.
Dosis tik riebīgu lietas un aš pat vides goli.
That was so disgusting thing that you can't even talk
Bet
about.
pudiken.
But let's see.
Vasome tu viens arāk irā, esi nepieciešami saku kristietiski, bet īpaši kalpotais, ka viņš krel Deleski Slava.
Why it's talking about this, that every Christian have to know about the God's praise,
Good
especially who's in ministry. Let's see.
Sinot, kādies es piemēram mānu šesa.
How would happen it with the people?
Mānu šjopķasis.
Person
Andas au bāru sarūktinājumus.
in so much disappointment.
Ja konta, piemēram, sota kerģasis da so briesmīgu.
Someone did do something so terrible.
Ne, piemēram, koneski tā ģimenāt ir konta, ka čāve, čajakerna briesmīga lieti,
Let's imagine
šausmīga.
from someone's family.
Naš tipat bija peneslavenca.
Someone of the children made something
Ģimenes
terrible.
ar
You can't
neoģamas.
even talk about it. What, you know how we would be?
Norode,
You would be cried out.
izpūruša. Ne, mene oģamas izpūruša, tu mejodes esi izpūruša.
Messy.
Nakamesa nehas,
You don't want to eat
neurestu,
or to dress anything.
itniso.
You don't want to do anything.
Nikones nakames vikres,
You
nikones
don't want to
nakames
see anyone
rakres.
or talk.
Tu, ka vienalga sonotiek.
You don't care what is happening
Nu,
around
ja
you.
pareiz var būt samānus,
And it's right because you are just a people.
bet na dēl.
But not for God.
Dēl nikdy neēla izpūrušu,
God will never be a messy.
nikdy neēla načistu,
Never will be dirty.
nakārtīgu,
Uh,
vienaldzīgu.
Careless.
Nikdy ona jāla daso kontračini kontrola,
He will not be someone who will lose control.
ti nikdy lesku plānus.
And his plan never.
Ne jāla, cik neusticīgu mānus,
How we trust for these people
naš tu labi jaucinām.
cannot destroy.
Naš tu labi jaucinām. Tiģinen, baigi interesanti.
And it's very interesting.
Kiedy tu mekedena an štalla
When
pešķi
we
veršu
read
nodaļu,
in chapter 41,
tu esi rakstītu.
it's written
Si jālapāle Deleski Godiba.
that God's glory will come back.
Jālapāle Deleski Godiba.
God's
Deleski
glory will
namus.
come back in his household.
Jauku godini pesku lauku peski tauta.
He will glorify his name. to
Jodos
his people.
tikāla Ecehielus.
He showed it to Ezekiel.
Jau lesjane landrando.
He brings you
Dos
into
ir
it.
tik neizskaidrojami.
And it's
Sian
so
sāru du stāvoklis.
unspeakable in all that situation.
Dēl, pilnīgi mierīgi.
God simply
Turpini, ka ir dosu sileski svarīgi.
do what is
Tini
important for him.
soleski godi batina pārlapatis.
And nothing
Naja
from
čela tik
his
nedī.
glory will not change and will not become small.
To es otrāde.
It's other way around.
Vienmēr Leski
Always.
slava,
His
Leski
praise,
Godiba ir
his
tik
glory
bāri.
is so huge.
Mēl, cik netaisnu, načistu, ļaunu mānus.
How
Kad ir dēli jālapiski Godibas, jo
when
jā,
God
vienmēr
his glory,
sirangu raiti
always
kraļingu
comes
kraļis.
as King of
Jo
kings and
vienmēr
Lord of
jāla jākas ir dēliski
Always
valstība,
God,
porazam
God's,
sidoj. Se Deleski
kingdom is
valstība
there.
razamisti
As
doi,
God's kingdom is over there.
ti me tu mingi kamā penā.
And I want to say,
Si do isi svarīgi tu mingi
that it's
saku
important
neskati
for
džinen,
anyone to know.
džinen vašsa,
You know why?
kidi jegdīs tu men sotas karini.
Because in one day something will touch you.
Tu me džikelo kajāna izpūruša,
You will be easy,
čurdena
messy.
sāru
You will
kumalus,
leave everything,
na kamena nehanne pie, ti tu mingi jāla vienalga.
and you will be careless.
Žakire, si tu mingi vaštijā
How you
vienalga,
can be careless
do so tu mingi dēlus pačaģā.
to think what God entrusted in you,
Do so dēl tu mingi žakire.
on the thing what God's
Si
waiting
tu mingi
for you.
vaštijā vienalga.
How you can be careless.
Šunen,
Just listen.
bet tu mingi kamā penā.
I want to say,
Nikon menasam ideā.
no one is
Saku,
ideal.
neske vaštijā saita lieti.
No one is perfect, and everyone
Bet tu
has the
nabisti
same things.
nigdie klieti.
But never forget one thing.
Dēlna pāruna.
God will never change.
Ja jau tu tan samu sākumus kamjā,
If He loved you in the beginning,
sota pāru ģepe.
did something
Protams,
change?
Ja jau tu tan samu sākumus
If
karģā,
He called you on the beginning,
vai tu sota pāru ģepe?
did something change? I think no.
Ja jau visi kaģa preču tu te uzticība an sākumus,
If He showed
li tu
trust
būt
in the
lieti
beginning,
vispār nemanā džiņģā,
and you didn't
Kina
even
halien
know
sisi
many
pareizi
things,
zina.
and you didn't know how it's right and wrong.
patom feņu halien, an būt lieti kai,
You just started to
Jā,
understand
ja
later
ka nemanas
many
es
things
pareizi.
that you did something wrong.
ja ka nemanas es īsti pareizi, jo joprojām,
And He still
na pāru ģepe.
didn't change.
Kaisi tu iemeslus, vaso isi iemeslus tuke, pielesai, tad tas ir neprātīga, muļķīga lieta.
Why it's reason for you to take some wrong
Ti esi vispār
decisions.
divi draudzaki kļūda.
And that's a greatest mistake of the church.
Tu esi vispār divi līderengi kļūda.
And that's a greatest mistake of the
Sanoti
leaders.
kandiedu dešmur
What
šanca,
happened with those 10 men
kon gīne pu Jerika, pu apsolitu
who
puiku,
went to Jericho to
vi
the promised land
pārbaudinen, vi kendu štetus.
to check the place?
Kad jo nedi klapingia kenca du tauta,
When they saw the people,
sjo jo ne prendojake.
they said,
Kana,
now
meme rasam.
we will die.
Do esi milži,
They are giants,
a me allingiaka.
and we in the eyes of them
Isam grā siseni.
are as a grasshopper.
Mēs esam allingiaka grā. Skudri, nedođene.
We were as ants in the eyes of them,
Ti dolenču džaku razus.
and they made them
Nevis dikhen pu Deleski Slava,
not to see on the God's glory,
bet dikhen pu bendes ajonesi.
but to see on themselves how they look.
Bet tu minka māpu nav jaki.
I want to say,
Togi, kad tu sāki nesa vispār jāsku dēl,
when you starting to come to God,
tu nadikhesa pu tu te sautu san.
you don't see on yourself how
Vardosi
you look.
ti vēlešanas ir sākumus, ir jek.
Because on the beginning, your
Som tu ka jau piedī.
you desire what is one, so you
Dos
will
paši
forget
tīru
forgetting.
mērķis.
That's the first of your desire.
Som tu ka jau
So
piedīnu,
you
dos
will be
tu ka ir
forgotten
ģan.
what you did.
Kidi tu do nožali ģana dianti dzīva
When you
Jēzus, ka
repented to God.
tu hotņa kiresa tu tvažo.
You are
Potom tu
Happy
sāki
about
nesa
it.
šunēs.
then you will start to hear.
Si dēl tu kamēls,
God's
raskināt vienalga,
God
tu
loves
izgan
you, man.
īpašos,
He
ka,
not careless,
ti tu
you
kas
are
olas
special to
lietu,
him.
tad īsāki interesē
And
nelače.
you will start to be interested in
Ah,
it more
tos
and more.
lače.
And it's good.
Tad tu sāki nesa uz žines būt tad idru
Then you
bībeļa.
start to know more
Si
about,
palīsteni,
about
dēls,
him,
ka si būt
about
tad
Bible.
īso tava
That
štuka.
there is even more, something for you
Si
from
dēls,
God.
ka būt tad ir, kamēr tu
That God
kad
wants to give you
klāji.
something more and reveal something more to you.
Ti tu gan iek mirkļa,
And then in one moment,
kai tu, ka būt čelape,
when there's
sāru, do, so tu
šunģan,
when it asks from you that everything that
So
what you
thou
heard,
penja
what
tutti.
God talked
Kontu
about you,
sanleske.
who are you for Him,
čūskattenāni
to
jēle.
put it together
Si samu sotakuče,
as
dīti bāradi.
something most valuable.
Dobrīši.
On that moment,
Sāru tu do,
everything,
vienkārši kaišane sauri,
you will just
šur desatelle,
leave it and throw it away,
ti di kesa putia
and
kansa,
then you will see with your own eyes
so sambil tutte,
what is in front of you,
ti tu penesa.
and you say,
Sakana. Sāru da laiku so megiju, paldēleste.
what is happening? All this time what I went up to
Sāru
God,
so me vēl tiģu,
everything what I gave to Him,
da sāru pu čuču.
it's all empty.
Tu di kana so sambil miaka,
Look what is in front of me.
tu bisti ģan do slava.
And you forgot that
Tu
praise.
mukjan du Godiba, savu jau tu kan klāja.
You leave the glory what He revealed for you.
Anglu do so me vikai kokur kurā kirģa.
Before what we spoke
And
about
var
last
more.
week, but book of
Dešofto tu nodaļati līdz bištu.
Moses.
Exodus, var Mozus, Exodus.
book of Exodus,
Genesis.
book of Exodus,
Dešofto dņati pu bištu.
chapter 2, 18
To
to
esi
20.
momenta, kad
That's
dēls
the
panela.
moment when God says,
Mozu, tu man ģines,
Moses, you know me.
tu tik jan mi slāvu.
You saw my glory, my
Meka
praise.
mā sāri draudza me do.
But I want to reveal it to all church.
Meka mā sāri draudza do me.
I want to all church to
Penla, ka me
reveal it.
gatavi nelpe. Me jau vā, pošli trindīs tad klāji
Tell them
nāma.
to get ready because I will come
Pen
after
jau
3 days
nemešķīsti
and reveal
nempe.
myself to them.
Pen
Tell them to
nemešķīsti
purify
nempe.
themselves, to get ready.
Me jānku hore baki bergu.
To come
Me do
to the
jau vā,
Mount of
me do jā
Godiba.
klāji
I will
nāma.
be there and I will reveal myself.
Mozus penela lenge,
Moses spoke to them.
jo negatavi nenapen.
They tried to prepare
Tu
themselves.
miesiku daļa nu vaši nevi kēren loke.
They could do the fleshly place.
Morde
the
pen,
fleshly
morde
thing.
telepengīģi.
They cleansed
Atriki
themselves.
lepe doriks un lenge pu pendle.
They leave what they said to them, was said to them.
Tikā naisi tu garīgu daļu.
And now there is this part of the spiritual part.
Jo ja Deleski Slava pu berga.
God's glory came to the mountain.
Jo ne do vadīja.
And when they saw it,
Jo ne straham dīna tele.
they became afraid.
Ti penenējā.
And they said,
Nā.
no,
Mena tu vina
we don't
samengājas.
want to draw closer to God.
Ja tu vintu.
You will go and draw closer
So
to
tu
God.
penesa.
And everything what you will say,
Dome kē rasa.
we will do.
Klēv, nastrahaģu.
He said, don't be afraid.
Nastrahaģu.
Don't be afraid.
Dēl, visu tu mēģinā kella ļaunu.
God
Jo
will
ja
not
vienkārši
do
pāvaldu, vai tu mēles
evil
kur
to
pašā.
you. He just wants to see if you can entrust in Him till the end.
Mozus iepiņš kirģa Deleski
Let's see
Slava.
God's, get to know the God's glory.
Jo
God's
vienela
praise.
sāri tauta.
He brought all the
Tauta,
people,
ke kana sipu pengu līderis,
and
tas ir
people
tikai jāšķir.
have to see on their leader as
Jo vi cīņi ģeva šlenge.
He fight for them. He gained victory
Tu
for them.
daļa,
In that part
kā dēl panela.
where God says,
Tu man vi ķemi
you saw
slava.
my glory, my praise,
Nekā mā sāri
and now I
draudza.
want to reveal to all people.
Zagatavinila.
Prepare them.
Kana jau gatavinila,
And now He prepared them
ti panela solenge kēre.
and said what to do.
Du jed daļa rolīne ti kerna.
They did what they had to do for the one part.
Ti kana si du galveni.
And now it's the main
Du
part,
garigu daļa.
the spiritual part.
Kai tu līderis ģālā tu
When the
soļas.
leader
Soļo ne
walk,
lido ģanandre.
They have to walk.
Ti tiešām do daļa ne penena.
And in that part they said,
Menadžers.
we will not go.
Bet tu min kamā penal.
I want to say to
Tu
you,
mengām draudza dēlva šeit atklāja ne abrīnojama
in
lieta.
church God can reveal you amazing things.
Bet ja draudza
But if church
napiņš kirla Deleski Slava,
don't know the God's glory,
jeni sinnašti ģalka teni soļa an soļa.
they can't go step by step with His leader.
Dosu si atklāt.
What is revealed for them.
Ja tu mekaminjām līderi,
If you want to be a leader,
ja tu mekaminjām Deleski
if
tauta,
you want to be a God's
ja tu
people,
mekamena Deleski Godiba,
if you want God's
tu
guidance,
megačevi zahaļo.
you have to understand
Da principi na pāru
this
dēļ.
principle didn't change
Tata nevi derībā.
even in the New Testament. We will talk about it,
Da
everything
principi
ahead of
aparo
us,
depne.
because this principle didn't change.
Da sari līdz za dīs reāli kerla būt
Until these days, it still
Mas do
works.
am draudza isi būt
That's why
kristieši.
there is many Christians in the
Convivere
church
naped, ja če negariga.
who
To jest
decide to
legiesi
be
loke,
unspiritual because
niesigu
it's
daļa.
easy for them to take the fleshly part.
Somenge če bikeras,
What we need to do,
lege pupenle,
it was said to them,
tiene pena
and I
mekerasa,
said, we will do it.
mekerasa.
We will do it.
A kanaisi du garu,
But now
garigu
there is the
daļa.
spiritual part,
Kai bu čela pe būta di.
where it's asked from you a bit more.
Kai bu čela pe koro tu
When it's
dzīve.
asked from you yourself, your life,
Ti pārēc, ti domašana.
your thoughts,
Koro tu deskigalnē.
to give yourself
Tu
away to
daļa.
God. And that part,
Draudza penela.
the congregation
Yes, sir.
says, you know,
Tu džā,
you can go,
dekriktu,
give yourself away,
feņu nabistri opāve,
just don't forget yourself and come back.
ti sotu
And
penesa,
everything what you will say,
dome kerasa.
they will go do.
Bet, žinku je brīži.
But until one moment,
Tik līdz jāla sota,
until they will be coming something
so lege īsti neāla skaidri.
what is unclear for them,
Jo ne penena.
and they will say,
Žine so,
you know what,
nenge da līderis naderi,
this leader is no good for us.
nenge si čep no vā,
We need someone else.
nenge da naderi.
Doesn't work.
Tuli se salmu,
Do you remember before how we had it?
vaige,
It was good.
čep čes pāla.
We need to go back to that moment.
Aļona,
Do you
vaš
understand?
dosi draudza,
Because church,
ja ir na piņškilo Deleski Slava,
when they don't know the God's praise, God's glory,
jej feņu pulela sauta momentus,
they just
i
take
puri
some
kila do
moment
penela.
and they just take for themselves a keep it and
Līdz
say,
nasamenge
do
si
you
slāvi.
remember before?
Vaige,
It was good.
jāsasmenge tēņi,
We drank tea,
kasasmenge
we
cepumi,
ate cookies,
cāre draudzige, cāre vaige.
everyone was friendly.
Jāmpālēn duvi.
Let's go back to that way.
Jāmpālēn duvi.
Let's go back to that way.
Dēl apsoli ģalenga.
That God promised to them,
Apsoli tu puj,
promised land
kai tūti metus.
where milk and honey.
Penela, tu me iemantine na flori.
He said, you will gain cities,
So tu me na hadine,
what you didn't build.
tu me ģanandre ambarija, kai tu me na kerde buti.
You will walk into the garden where you didn't work.
Do sāru me tu menge dā kriga.
I will give it to you.
Ti to viene penle.
And then they said,
Me ģasam pāle,
we will go back
po Eģipta.
to Egypt.
Do me hasa žāvi ta boja.
They eat fresh meat.
Me hasa žāvi ta boja. Smoked.
Smoked, yes, smoked meat.
Ti tikai sidu problēma.
And that's the problem.
Si ame, ja me piņškirasam Deleski Slava,
That if we recognize God's glory
me cīņinasame.
We
Am jebsai
fight in
situācija.
any situation,
Sobi draudza.
that church congregation
Ģala uridu stāvoklis.
will walk out of that state
An so isi un rebešli.
where they are sitting in.
Daļa necihēla grāmata.
In Ezekiel,
An Mārija kačūlape.
into our eyes, it looks like
Doināni iespēja vispār
it's
sotiti
not
pār.
possible to change anything.
Ecihēla 3 teftā.
Bez nākamā tefta nokedā.
First, I was to read Book of Ezekiel 37.
Ecihēla 3 tefta.
Book of Ezekiel 37.
Dosi, tas jau interesantu momentus.
There is one interesting
Spērš
moment
pantiņate.
from the verse 1.
Tā kunga roka nāca pār mani, un tas kungs mani garā aizveda kādas ielas vidū, kas bija pilna ar miroņu kauliem, un viņš man vadāja starp tiem pa klājumu šurpu turpu. Un to bija ļoti daudz, un tie bija pavisam izkaltuši. Un viņš man jautāja, cilvēka bērns, vai šie kauli var kļūt atkal dzīvi? Es atbildēju, kungs, mans Dievs, tu to zini. Tas Izraēļaku stāvoklis tas savu.
People of Israel is so big, as much as
tas savs stāvoklis ir
they
miruša
stay
kokali.
down.
I naprosto miruša kokali, bet
Dead
šuke
bones.
izkaltuši.
They're not just the dead
Все.
bones, they are dry.
Miruša kokali feņu.
They are
Tas
not
ir
dry
Izraēļaku
bones.
stāvoklis.
That was the Israel,
Ti
the
dēl būt
people of
čelā.
Israel state. And God asks
Ecihiel,
Ezekiel,
vai var štida kokali
can these bones
nauko jām džīdē?
come back to life?
Vasojo panelā
Why he says,
tu dođines.
only you know it.
Vaš dos Ecihielus di kalapusārdu situācija.
Because Ezekiel looks on that
Tian
situation
Leski apkā.
and the eyes of him,
Nāni iespējami.
it's not possible.
Nāni sota iespējami
It's
vispār
not
te
possible
pārūpēt.
to change it.
Pušunen,
Let's listen.
pušunen sāri draudza, pušunen do lakum
all
kalpinena.
congregation and those who's in ministry.
Nabistereni,
Don't
am tu
forget
māri dzīvaku laikos.
in
Vaštijā momenta, kad tu meni dikana pu sāru do, dikana pu draudza, dikana pu situācija te čūlapē.
situation and you think
Ne, tā ir štini so pārūpēt.
there is nothing you can change.
Bet vasot tu meni čebi piņškirem dēles,
That's
kas
why you
slāva.
have to know the God's glory, God's praise.
Daisi penlo,
It says
si dēl
that God
penela leski.
said to him,
Un viņš man jautāja, cilvēka bērns, vai šie kauli var kļūt atkal dzīve. Es atbildēju, kungs, mans Dievs, tu to zini. Tad viņš man pavēlēja, sludini šiem kauliem. Sludini šiem kauliem un saki tiem, jūs, sakaltušie kauli, klausaties tā kunga vārdu. Tā saka Dievs tas kungs, šiem kauliem es iedvesīšu jums garu, ka jūs kļūstat atkal dzīvi. Jūs dabūsiet dzīslas, miesu un ādu, un es jums piešķiršu dvašu un dzīvības garu, lai jūs topat atkal dzīvi un atzīstat, ka es esmu tas kungs. Tad es sludināju, kā man bija pavēlēts, un tur čirkstēja, kad es sludināju, un redzi, tur kustējās, kauli sadēvās kopā cits ar citu, un kad es apskatījos, un es redzēju, ka tiem bija dzīslas un miesa un āda pārklāja tos, bet dzīvības gara viņos nebija. Tad viņš man sacīja, cilvēka bērns, sludini dzīvības gara, saki tam, tā saka tas kungs, nāc gars no 4 vējiem un apdvež šos nokautos, kad tie kļūst dzīvi. Kad es tā sludināju, kā man bija pavēlēts, tad dzīvības gars nāca kaulos, tie tapa dzīvi un nostājās uz savām kājām. Varens, liels pulks. Žingudeši.
read to the verse 10.
Pudikhen.
Let's see.
Kad ir pilnīgi itniso vispār, naliecini si doi sota vaštijā,
There is nothing that it could be happen.
niek mirkļa dēļ, ja
In one
nelande
moment,
pārmaiņu.
God brings change
Ti panlajaki.
and says,
Upenda.
say this
Ti
and say this
upenda.
and say this.
Ti doi si rakstītu.
And it's
Si jau penģa. Tieši
that
jak si
he
dēl penģa.
said as God said to him.
Ti tik līdz jau do
And
kerģa.
as he did it,
Sāki ģa kustinelpe, sāki ģa
everything
pārūpe.
had to move,
Sāki ģa
everything
notiki
began
sāki.
to change and
Nabri
began to
no
happen.
venda.
In amazing
Sāki
things,
ģa reāli sāru
it
pārūpe.
started to change.
Džensu do no
You know
zīme.
what those
Vaš tu
means?
menge, kon
For
kalpi
you,
nenadēleske.
who's
Kon
is
is sanan
servicing God,
draudze.
who is in church.
Pat ja tu Mārija kasikāna,
Even if your eyes shows
suna
that
pārūpe.
nothing can be changed.
Tiklīdz tu jāsandēleski slāva.
Whenever you come
Ti
to God's
zalesa.
praise and you
Tieši dosu dēlu, kam
receive
el panel.
what God wants to say to you,
Ti vikēri
you
sado.
will do it.
Sāki nenakustinen par lieti.
The things start to move.
Sāki nenapārum par
The
lieti.
things will change.
Pat ja tie kačula, dona pārula,
Even if you look
Bet
like
to
it didn't change, but it
dona
changed.
čelieka.
It will not stay the
Vaš
same.
dosi dēl konsi,
Because the God who is
an māru vidus.
in our midst,
Jak si me penģu,
as I said,
jau na derdžulam stūris, na
He
gole,
will not sit on the
jau
corner
nejāla
and not cry.
izpūrušu,
He will not be messy.
jau nejāla vienaldzīgu,
He will not be careless.
jau na tračini vispār, jeb sai interesa.
He will not lose his interest.
Neseles, kur ti hačula vaš menge.
You know how his heart burns for us?
Tu me donaš tiedu
You
finantu.
can't even imagine.
Jau plnas jau si greisi,
He
tiku
said
dēl.
that
Tu
he
esi jau
is the
tut na daļini sosata.
jealous God.
Jau na pie perlas obi tu jās.
He don't give it to
Kaita,
you somewhere.
sirta.
Only he don't want you to be somewhere.
Kudi kan dēļ
Let's
nekadījām.
see.
Kur
We
derībā
can
par
read it from
notikumus.
the Old
Bet tu
Testament.
mēs ārlača džinēm.
But you know everything
Līdzība
very good.
pazudušu čāvesti.
The parable about the lost son.
Hakidi jau no ģekudu baličengu
When
haben.
he came to the food of a pig.
Nekidjām sai brīža mānuši si gotovo
What
hal
moment
baličengi, kuri tu neko
Person
kidi.
are ready to
Am
eat
sai brīža.
the pigs. In what moment?
Gandrīz vai si jau merla. Un tu me pie
It's the
perla.
moment when he is ready to die. Do you
Mēs
agree?
runājam, kirā savu jau vidi
And
čula.
I will talk about how he looked.
Vaš dosi, tu me skaidri džinē savu jau vidi
Because
čandija.
you know how he looked.
Kidi jau penģa.
And he said,
Putiken kā mēs sun.
look where am I?
Putiken savu mēs sun.
Look how I look.
Deleski kalpi.
My father's servants
Dzīvi nenalače.
live good.
Tas dolakun kalpi nenami dēles.
It means thou who serve to my God
Vienmēr dzīvi nenalače.
always live good.
Dievu plānā mēs štāpeti
And he said, I will rise, I
Mēs
rise up
esam
and I
cienīgi.
went back to
Dau man
my
goli.
father
Bet
because
mēs štāpeti meģā
I am
pāri.
not worthy to call myself as a son. But
Ja
I
jau
raise
si
and
preču
go back.
kalpende laču.
If he is good for his servants,
Jau si laču.
he is good.
Vienkārši ieklavesa jau si laču.
It's in one word, he is good.
Tik idi jau
And
ģapāle.
when he came back,
Udi kensaisis reakcija tādas.
let's see the reaction of the father.
Nada sai Marioģas.
Not as we had it.
Jau čuģa sāru do ammalus.
He put aside everything.
Pārmetumi. Jasvā.
Tears.
Dosa kana medikra piemiņi
Everything that is spoke about, we didn't eat,
Sāru
we didn't
viena
sleep,
judoču ģamalus.
everything. We are careless.
Uhtian gilti plajake.
He ran
Kalpenge.
before him and
Zāra
said to
patu
the
remesti
servants,
teleda načista iģi.
take off his dirty clothes,
Ureno pleči, uren prangrusni.
give him a ring,
Kērens kamina.
make a table,
Kārtinen sārsos i čebnu.
put everything on the table what it needs to be.
Jomu čāvu,
Because
onis
my
isna
son
šandīni oģa
who was
pārle.
lost came back.
Jau isi smēnu, bet kanadži.
He was dead, but now he's alive.
Kanat me haļuna var sodā
Now you
kokali.
understand why
Se
these
vispār,
bones
galīgi bidzīvi
who are
bakīvi.
without
Vaši
life
cihie luske.
for
Tas
Ezekiel.
nav iespējams vispār.
It's not possible.
Lember sotā vaši tivi jālpe.
Can something happen with them?
Bet dēl, panela.
But God says,
Tā naka ir jaka.
now do as I said
Ti
like
tu
this,
dikasami varam.
and you will see my glory.
Saku kristietis konsianda
Every
naudza.
Christian who is in
Saku kalpot.
church, every
Kom viņš kila dēles
who
vislava.
knows God's praise,
Mijālsai situācijām draudza.
any situation in the church,
Jebkon tu mendru štela pret.
anyone of you can stand up and say,
Bet žinen,
but you know,
kana me kērasam jā.
now we're gonna do like this.
Me nevis rovāsam ti
We will
čīkstinasam.
not weep.
Nevis pīrasam izpūrušati,
We will
ti
not walk
nekārtīga.
around messy.
Me piņškirasam saisi dēles ki slavu.
We recognize God's praise.
Meģina saisi leski zo.
We know His power.
Tika nameri švasam ku jau.
And now we turn back to Him
Sārda situācija.
in any situation.
Ti meģina sa jau karu.
And we know what He will
Jo
do.
an sārda pogodini.
He will glorify Himself
Jakas
in
ir
all
mepat
this
naštido iedu
as
finansmen.
much as we can't even
Bet
imagine.
būt te dī nesilīt šimedo piņškir
Even
džam.
more than we knew it before.
Kā namfeņu medi kasam sa jāva leski slavu.
We will now see only His
Tini
right.
kondraudzati na panela.
And no one from the congregation will say,
Džinenso si.
you know what?
Da sāru dermu.
It's all empty
Sāre da
talk.
berša some tieci džamen.
And all these years what we
Some mēģi
all
džaman draudza,
around
ka ir
what we
sāru da
try to
dermu.
do in this church, it's empty.
Nā. Nā.
No.
Otrādi.
It's going to be all the way around.
Hänen
They will say,
kanasveņu sāru īstasākini,
only now
jo me
starts
piņški rasam
everything.
savisi dēla
Because
mārvidus.
we know how
Meģinā
God
saisiliski
in our
zod,
midst.
saisiliski
We
slava,
recognize His
saisiliski
power, His
Godiba.
praise, and His glory.
Vodīgi dojas ir nepieciešami draudzē.
That is necessary to the
Piņški vēl
church
dēleski
to
slava.
recognize God's
Dos ir
praise.
nepieciešami, meģinā saku
That's
kalpotāju.
necessary for every servant.
Saku, kon
For
činela,
every
kon
minister who plays,
slavini,
who,
glošasa, kon kalpini, kon kārtini,
praise
krešli,
Him, who
jeb so,
in ministry, who do church, anything.
jeb kon zem draudzē.
Anyone who's in church.
Paš dori da savus izdēlisku plānu.
That was the God's plan.
Jā, tad klāina pa sāriņu.
To come and to reveal
So
Himself to
biniek
everyone.
najāla lengu vidus.
That no one in their midst
Nesticības,
will
šaubensa,
be with doubts,
miesigu, prātusa, miesigu džesa.
with the fleshly heart, fleshly
So
mind.
biniko najāla negarīgu an lengu vidus.
So no one can be unspiritual.
Ti doisi māru mērķis.
And that's our purpose.
So bija draudza najāla negarīgu,
That
bet
church will
garīgu.
not be
Viņš kiril dēles.
spiritual, but spiritual, so they know
Viņš
God.
kiril dēles, viņš kiriliski
They
slava.
recognize God and His praise.
Tu viņu helpeliski.
To draw closer to Him.
Aha, džene, menadžina savu jāla taša tur no dēļ.
We don't know what is tomorrow gonna happen.
Bet meģinau ieklieta.
But I know one thing.
Meģinau si tu mē
I
pie
know
dzīvi
that
debū
you live through many
bāre garīga lietiem.
great spiritual things in your life.
Tu meģinau si dosija, ka pats zīmogus uzspiestu dēles.
I know it's as
Te
a
an īstu brīža,
mark
an
from
īstu
the God.
brīža,
In the right moment,
tu mēs sākam nenarodendu zīmogus.
you will start to look for the mark and you'll say,
Tikai si,
that's the mark.
tikai si.
I found it.
Hadosu jau karģadai,
That's what He did here.
jo aš tikai relari doj.
He can do that.
Ti jau karģado dai,
And as He did there,
jo na pāra džapa, jo arī
He
kerla
didn't change.
dagīši.
He do the
Ti
same
pat
thing
būt te divi.
and even much more.
Mums ir pārliecība.
I am
Tu dole esi
confident
tikai
for
esi.
it, and you will start to do it,
Ti tu dole esi tikai
and
esi.
you will start to do it,
Ti ni kontu, ka na tu panela nā.
and no one can say no to it
Baš to su tu piņš kiresa dēles.
because you recognize God and His glory.
Može kon
Praise.
skai sisēta jautājumi tieši par tā tēmu.
If anyone has a
Lūdzu,
question to this
Ja
topic,
si uz den, najjačajā neziņā,